if we can, we can talk about some of those absolutes then, I mean, relevance, I think, should be an absolute. And as you say, it's difficult how you maybe set up criteria. And that will also vary, I imagine, between disciplines as well, how you, and Angus, you talked a little bit about that earlier, that, if you're in a practice-based discipline, for example, of course, those criteria are going to be slightly different from other disciplines, maybe, and those are also, but also in a practice-based discipline, I imagine that the skills that you acquire or want your students to acquire through writing a thesis or doing a thesis or doing a research project are different from other disciplines, more theory-based disciplines, for example. But then what is it that's obsolete here, So coming back to that idea of a practice-based discipline, maybe wasn't the writing sort of, wasn't that isn't that obsolete already in a practice-based discipline?
Well, I mean, obsolete means like it's completely irrelevant, where for me it's not completely obsolete. It just, maybe it needs to be reconsidered. I mean, it needs to be reconsidered and possibly in terms of a 300-page tome that is going to be read in terms of its introduction and conclusion, and everything in between is almost skimmed over. But I think that there has to be some kind of contextualization, deep contextualization of whatever it is that has been done. And whether that is through a video, somebody presenting and arguing, almost following the Vivo model without a written aspect, I think there could be creativity in the way that that's disseminated. But I don't know whether or not watching a 2-hour video of a student explaining why their PhD is amazing versus a written document. I think it's really, it's just a different form of communication. But I don't think that it could just be, an individual item, an individual thing. I think it has to be embedded and it has to be examinable in some way or other as well.
There's got to be evidence to substantiate the argument or the finding.
Yeah, because this is what exists before, this is what I've done, and this is how I've changed the body of knowledge forward. Without being able to understand what's come before, you might be just repeating the wheel. And I think that's an important aspect of what the PhD is all about.